Yes, sir.
Yes. A very good evening. On behalf of Udupi branch of SARC of ICA, as well as the Mysore branch of SARC of ICA, I welcome you all for the virtual CPE meeting today on Digital India and Digital Compliance, the way for CA profession. We are extremely privileged to have with us today a Central Council member, CA Dayanivas Sharma. Welcome you, sir. And we are also having with us the chairman of Udupi branch of SLC of ICA, C. Pradeep Jogi sir, and chairman of Mysore branch, hello, CA Vasudev Rao sir. And we are also having with us the secretary of the Mysore branch of SLC of ICA, CA Raghuveer CS. I welcome you all for the today's virtual CP. Now I request the branch Udupi branch chairman, CA Pradeep Jogi sir, to give the welcome address of the today's CP. Thank you, sir. Over to Pradeep, sir.
Thank you, sir. A respected Central Council member of ICA, CA Dayanivas Sharma ji, CA Vasudev Rao, chairman of Mysore branch, CA Kumar MG, vice chairman, CA Lokesh Shetty, secretary, members, and dear students. Very good evening and a warm welcome to this virtual CP meeting on Digital India and Digital Compliance, the way forward CA profession, organized by Mysore branch of SARC and Udupi branch. Firms and professionals who embrace to newer technologies, challenges and newer dynamics fast will have a head start in this evolving era. Initial reactions may reflect complexities and resultant impact arising out of such technical innovations. However, such innovations brings with them a new twilight zone of opportunities which are waiting to be explored. Dear friends, it's a great privilege for us to have an eminent, young and dynamic speaker, CA Dayanivas Sharma ji, the Central Council member of ICA, who has accepted our request and is here to share his words of wisdom on this topic. Also with me, CA Vasudev Rao sir, chairman of Mysore branch, CA Kumar MG, vice chairman, CA Lokesh Shetty, secretary of Udupi branch. I welcome you, sir, to this virtual CP meeting. I once again welcome all the members and the students to this virtual CP meetings. Ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude my welcome speech with a quote of George Westerman. When digital transformation is done right, it's like a caterpillar turning into butterfly. But when done wrong, all you have is really a fast caterpillar, which means digital transformation isn't just a switch you turn on with the right amount of investment. There are ways to do it correctly and also ways to do it incorrectly. With this, I welcome you all to this virtual CP meeting. Thank you, Lokesh sir. Over to you.
With the introduction of the today's speaker, actually the speaker doesn't need any introduction, but I try to make a small attempt to give a brief intro to the today's speaker, CA Dayanivas Sharma. As far as his roles in our institute is concerned, he is a chairman of peer review board, he is a member of quality review board, he is a conveyor for members and student services directorate, including SSP, he is a vice chairman of the digital accounting and assurance board. XBRL India is a board member, he is a member of UDN Directorate and Digital Transformation Process Reengineering Group. He is also a chairman of Center of Excellence, Hyderabad, and is also a member of multiple central committees. As far as roles and professional and personal front, CA Dayanivas Sharma is qualified in 2005, articled with PwC. Thereafter, revived to Lakshmi Nivas and Co. from 1 member to 130 staff firm and contributed 100 CAs to the fraternity. Their group is one of its kind to be called as the Indian multinational firms or Make in India firm of chartered accountants. He has been converted by a coffee table book and recognized as Young India Visionary by IMG Innovative Media Group in whole of UAE. At ICI, national and international forums, he took sessions and seminars on 23 plus different topics. Here before you, I introduced C. Daniva Sharma. I heartily welcome you, sir.
Uh,
Daniva Sharma, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Lokesh. First of all, compliments again back. I was actually very happy to come on the annual celebration of Udupi branch, and again returning back on a very interesting topic, which has been actually executed, though it has been initiated by Mysore branch, but executed by Udupi branch by a young dynamic chairman, Pradeep, who's been a very dear brother and a very real motivator, I think, in more than one way. Thank you, Pradeep, for inviting me again and making it possible to come and share my views. Let me also thank the chairman of Mysore branch, uh, Vasudev Rao sir. I can only tell you one of my partners is actually attending this session, and I can only tell you one thing is I am also a local person with to that extent because I have my branch operating out of Mysore, and a lot of known people are there who are associated, who are known to me from quite a long time, and they have been giving me all support and encouragement, and a lot of old senior gentlemen were there who have been a great support. And Gujari Prabhakaran sir is there today on the screen. I am really blessed to have him on the screen to take his blessing. Most importantly, Kumar sir, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity and coordinating with me to ensure that I come today and share a very important topic which we need to understand as a chartered accountant across, and the kind of criticality which is coming in a larger way. Digital India and digital compliance is not a small thing. It is actually a very big. When I go take you through the presentation, you will really appreciate what I'm trying to tell you and how it is very critical and important. Hope Pradeep, I am audible clearly. Do no problem. It's audible, right?
Yes,
Clearly.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Perfect. Thank you. So one of the most important thing which I would like to say is this digital India and digital compliance is a very unique topic which I picked up to share with our chartered accountants to only just relate how digitization is actually impacting the profession and how it is going to further impact the profession. I am not going to deviate from this topic with regards to making all of us understand that how it is impacting GST, income tax, and all. I'll actually take you through the entire center point, focal point, which is you are standing as a central person in the center. As a chartered accountant, you are a center point, and every digitization is just moving around us, completely moving around us. When I take you through this presentation, you will really agree to what I'm trying to say and also understand the critical factor how we need to move forward and what we need to do. Digital India initiative is one of the biggest initiative ever you can think about in the world. I'm going to talk about something very interesting. But before going to the digitization of India and compliances, let us quickly understand, might be you all will be interested what Institute has been doing on the digitization front. As I told you in the past seminars also, that digitization has actually taken over in Institute also in a larger way. First example let me give is the SSP portal, which is the biggest transformation which we have seen or we are going to see and we are going to continue to see. When we are going to see, you will be when I'm going to share this point, when 5 crore data is being migrated within the shortest time, within 1 year, we are almost on the stabilization stage, where today we have launched one more thing in the process of SSP, is that the principal of the firm, a main partner of the firm, can make payment of all the partners and chartered accountants who are associated with the firm at one go. And most important part is when you're talking about UDIN, UDIN is another big reform at of the institute which is totally driving digital. And today that digitization is creating a good amount of transparency and governance with regards to the kind of difficulties which other chartered accountants are facing. Most of the places, tax practitioners are signing in capacity of chartered accountant. They cannot generate UDIN. And the kind of frauds which have come out recently also, I am part of the UDIN directorate as well. The kind of frauds which are coming out, we are able to track it only because the chartered accountants are generating UDINs across length and breadth of the country. Just imagine if a person is certified. I have got a complaint week 10 days back in the state of Telangana where I come from, and the secretary of that particular department calls up and says there are 10 such people who have signed certificates. Pradeep, it is very important. I think you need to communicate and might be where required, communicate and circulate among your entire fraternity of chartered accountants what kind of problems are happening. When we wanted to go back and track, you will be surprised to know that these people were not chartered accountants. They were just putting their stamps. And when I asked that particular question, are they generating UDIN? The gentleman said, no, all other people have generated, but these 10 people only have not generated the UDIN. So immediately I said that then these people are not chartered accountants. And when we started searching it back, you will be surprised to know that actually they are not chartered accountants. And later these people have stopped taking calls of anyone. So what I'm trying to say is digitization is actually bringing a lot of transparency and confidence in the system. When this government came to power in 2015, they told that we'll curb the black money, we'll curb the corruption, and actually that is all the reality which has been happening around. I'm going to share how and which way this government has actually made it possible and how it is impacting our profession in a larger manner, which we all have to understand very closely how it is impacting a professional's life. Most important part is local to global or global to local. I don't know what to say, but India has become global because of our local. That is how the things have moved forward. And if you talk about many such initiatives, when you talk about digital learning hub, where our chartered accountants are actually sharing knowledge, gaining knowledge. Pradeep, ever you thought that you are going to take the seminars or conferences on this platform? We never thought. Did we, when we started, did we think that our chartered accountants are going to adopt to this technology? We never thought. We thought that chartered accountant might not get into this form of learning and all. They might not be interested. But for your surprise, only thing which I can tell you in the national level is all our digital learning hub programs, certification programs which are going through. We have clocked close to 1 crore 50 lakh minutes of learning experience, which does not include this webinars what we are doing. And now our GMCS and ITT, all our 10 lakh students who are going to be registered with us, are going through the technological thing. Am I right? In your branch also it is happening, right?
Yes, sir. We have conducted ITT and orientation.
Yeah. So now just imagine where are we heading towards? So what is this digital India? Have we ever thought about digital India? I'm going to share my presentation today and I'm going to take you through one of the most important and crucial activities which have been happening over last 7-8 years. I'm not in favor of any government. I'm not going to advocate any government, but I think I need to take it on record the kind of thoughtfulness they have gone through in this entire thing, which has impacted our profession in a positive manner. But now it is time where we need to really understand what we want to do and how we want to do, right? With this, I would like to start my presentation only by saying one thing is our institute is way ahead when compared to the global markets and the way Globe has been doing it. So today I am going to share very interesting topic which you all would love to understand what is this topic all about and how it is going to take us to a different level. Digital India, I am linking with digital compliances. Please understand, digital compliance is nothing but a role of chartered accountants which we have been doing across length and breadth from last couple of years. I think 7 decades have just passed, and today still we are those people who are relevant at every point of time. In this digital world, we are going to be there and be relevant all throughout. Digital India and digital compliance is an importance in financial and regulatory framework. I took it very importantly this line because of only one reason, that all compliances, whether it is income tax, whether it is GST, whether it is any other laws, Chartered accountants are the only people who are actually activating in every sense, right? So let me just take you through one of the most important sites, which is emerging technologies. And this is where I'm going to talk about digital India. When this government came and they talked about digital India, they made a statement that, we are going to actually invest 1,13,000 crores, and everyone was shocked. Go back and see some budget statements, you will be really laughing at that point in time. That 1,13,000 crores, what is there in this? Why so much of money in digital? But friends, I am happy to tell you one thing, one which is very critical. In 2013-14, we stood at 150th position in the world with regards to data usage. But today, in 2017 onwards, we are world's number one country in data usage. World's number one country. Can you just imagine? Pradeep, do you know what is the cost of per GB of data in India? Okay, I'll tell you something very interesting. What is the per GB cost of data in Canada, which is close to US? It is per GB cost of data is USD 12.55. 12.55 per GB. Multiply it and price it. How much it is? You see,
It's
the
huge.
next country which you and I would like to know is what is the cost of data at China, right? You will do a comparison, correct? It is 0.61 dollars per GB, right? You know what is the cost of GB data in India? It is just $0.09. The cheapest in the world and the best in the world. Just imagine where are we heading and where have we reached. Even a smallest vendor, today when you are talking about a auto rickshaw or might be a taxi guy, Ola, Uber guy, he is able to use the mobile to generate his livelihood. This is what is the first statement which I am trying to make India digitally empowered. What is digital empowerment? When my people are going to make money from digitization. You just check, Pradeep, in your area in Udupi, go to a small vendor and ask him, I don't have money. He'll tell you, okay, do you have Paytm? Do you have Google Pay? Right? The smallest of the guy is actually doing it. Even if you talk about your office boy or a person who is working in your home, he'll say, if you don't have cash, kindly do a GPay or might be make a Paytm entry. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
So now just can you imagine where digitization is taking us? Can you think if my last person who is uneducated is using data to generate his livelihood? Now, don't you think that chartered accountant is not going to get impacted because of this? When I am comparing the smallest guy, I am comparing to the finest gentleman who is chartered accountant. When I am talking about to make India digitally empowered, please understand the 1,13,000 crores was only used for this. Number two, to make governance participative and responsive. What does that mean? Participative means I have to cut the entire corruption. I have to ensure that I am reaching out to the last person. I have to be responsive in the entire process, and people have to understand that. Governance, less government, more governance was the statement made by our Honorable Prime Minister of this country. What it means is very simple. Tenders, which used to be on paper and people used to manipulate anything which is required, now it went into e-tendering mechanism. Just see what kind of frauds were being reported earlier and what is the level of frauds which are reported at this point in time. Might be there is a probability that still there is a fraud. I'm not denying that if people would like to tweak. But when you're talking about participative and responsive government, what I mean by that is basically ensuring that everything is coming transparent to ensure that The governance is at its peak. That can only happen if it is a transparent economy. That is how our India is actually taking shape into. It is coming into a transparent economy. We are not again being called as a parallel economy. We are being slowly getting called as a transparent economy. The compliance which is gone up, correct? When you used to incorporate a company, ever you thought that you have to stand next to a board and record information? Correct? Have you ever thought that any person who is incorporating a company, why those shell company story came in, and why did this entire thing of recording came? Because the population side of the country is very big. That is where the third stage of our thing is coming, is large scale digitization of records. It is not only Aadhaar, which I am going to discuss in detail later, but also when you talk about incorporation of companies, and more importantly, purchasing the stamp papers, correct? Stamp papers are also actually getting into the digitization mode. So all these frauds are going to get away. So digitization is actually creating an aura of transparency and better governance. So which we need to really, and how is it happening? It's only happening because of the digitization process which our country has actually adopted. And this 1,13,000 crores is the vision of this government to make certain things happen in a particular manner. And I think we all are actually participating in a very large manner to be part of it. Just imagine, we used to file our TDS returns with hand. Now we are filing everything online. You are incorporating a company online. You need not go to ROC also. No interaction, no human involvement. What is it? Large scale digitization of records. Aadhaar card. What is the Aadhaar card? Again, a large scale digitization of record. Earlier, if you remember, PAN cards used to be on the name of Dayanivas Sharma, Sharma Dayanivas, DN Sharma, Sharma DN. Any permutation combination you tell, you used to get a PAN card. Now, can you get a PAN card like that? Because you have to give Aadhaar card along with this. Aadhaar card is what? Retina and fingerprint. Correct? Retina and fingerprint. Now this retina and fingerprint cannot be there for the second person. The moment you put a Aadhaar card, then only you will get a PAN card. Just imagine the kind of transparency which is getting created. Now, you might have downloaded during this COVID time Arogya Setu app. Most of the people would have downloaded. What is Arogya Setu app? Have you ever thought about it? It is actually tracking of citizenship. Who is the person, where is he moving? This China did couple of years back, and when you, me, or anyone goes into China, they get to know that these are the people who are independently moving, who are not our nationals. And this is what is going to happen in this country also, that every individual is going to be getting recognized by a chip, or might be an app which is like Arogya Setu app. Within a week time, 150 million downloads have happened when Arogya Setu app was introduced. That is digitization. Is it related to chartered accountant? Yes, it is related to chartered accountant. When you are going to file the income tax returns of any individual will be tracked. Can I have multiple bank accounts now on Dayanivas Sharma, Sharma Dayanivas, Pradeep Jogi, Jogi Pradeep? It cannot be. It has to be only, how many ever bank accounts you open, it has to be only one name, which is called Pradeep Jogi or Dayanivas Sharma. Am I right? Because that is linked with your Aadhaar card or a PAN card which need to be given. Can you just imagine the kind of digitization which is going around us? How this is actually moved? Just see this. Now, let me take you to the next slide. I hope, Pradeep, I am going right.
Yes, sir.
A tale of tectonic reforms. I would like you to just visualize, last 7-8 years of this government and the way they have introduced the concept one after another. And I would like to tell that everyone of us who are chartered accountants have actually been walking on the path without realization where this destination is going. And it is time that we realize that important aspect, where we want to stay, how we want to stay, how long we want to stay, by just walking or without knowing what it is happening, or do you want to understand what has happened around you? Again, I am telling you, this is a central point, and people walked around this everywhere. And this is where the profession has moved towards. Let me take you to the slide. It is myriads of tax and compliance reforms. Indian government has undoubtedly been extremely aggressive in terms of enforcing stringent tax reforms, at least in the past few years bygone. And what are those reforms? Let us see. And I think most of you will appreciate what it means. Just see this. I have just put all these things which has come in a particular sequence. Go back and check the history of last 7 years. This is the flow of entire activity which has happened. And tell me which is the activity which is not applicable to a chartered accountant. I'll agree to it and I'll withdraw my statement. These are the biggest reforms. This government has given us as chartered accountants a biggest responsibility with lot of opportunity, but people have not understood that. Unfortunately, they have underpriced certain places, or they don't even know that there is a pricing mechanism which we need to do in these all entire excels. This is where I would like to take the concentration of all our chartered accountants to go. Please understand, all these activities have been very critical in more than one ways, right? So now let us take the example of Jan Dhan Yojana. What is Jan Dhan Yojana? Jan Dhan Yojana is financial inclusion. Correct? What is financial inclusion? That every person on this, in the country called India, the person who is from the last borders, where the border of India ends, till that place, a person should have a banking facility. Correct? Now, where is it impacting in Income Tax Act? Can you think about it? For a moment, just think. Or if anyone has any comment to be made in the chat box. Pradeep, are you able to see any chat box? I would like to really understand what they would like to say.
Nobody replied.
Nobody is there, right?
Hmm.
So, 1 second. Now, Jan Dhan Yojana is nothing but, if you remember, the government talked about one particular fact, that we will curb the black money process, correct? What is the black money linked with Jan Dhan Yojana? Have you ever thought? There are different ways and means of doing businesses, whether it is a daily finance business, or maybe it is agricultural income, right? I'll take example of agricultural income. What happened is, in income tax, there is a rule called Rule 6DD, right?
Yes.
What does the Rule 6DD say? It is an exception with regards to the transaction that are to be recorded in, that can be done in cash. And that includes agricultural income. Correct? Now, what used to happen in the past is, huge amount of cash was getting deposited in the banking system, or transaction used to happen in cash, and the entire return which was being shown as is agricultural income, and it was getting tax free, right? Our agriculture, sometimes the poor farmers are poor farmers only, but some other people have become very rich in agricultural income, right? On the 12th August, when the Prime Minister came and said in 130 crore population, there are very few people, which is 1.3 crores, are filing the income tax return. Out of that, very few are paying taxes. This is the message he actually gave us. Now, the point was not us, in the sense the citizens of India. I'm not talking about chartered accountants. I'm talking about citizens of India. So, Jan Dhan Yojana, primarily what it happened is, people used to take agricultural income. Even on barren lands, they have generated huge amount of produce, and ultimately they made it in a different manner and deposited money. So what he did was, he ensured that all these villages and towns, banking facility is being given to them. Then people asked him, why you think that people are going to come and open bank account? Then immediately he said, okay, I got an idea. Let us give them a 2 lakh rupee free insurance. Correct? So people got excited as if they are going to die tomorrow. They went and opened the bank accounts. Then they said, we'll give you 50,000 rupees on unsecured loans. Correct? Remember, Pradeep, that agriculture and people were being given unsecured loan for 50,000 rupees for no other thing. But only then people got excited and started opening the bank accounts, and huge number, few crores of bank accounts have opened in a shortest time. Now, what has happened with that is, he actually, if he would have removed the provision of Rule 6 DD as agricultural income should be taxed, they intelligently did that exception they killed. The exception is there, but the banking facility has been provided in all the banking villages. Now they are subjected to deposit and withdraw money from banking channel only. Right? This was the first thing which was being done. So is it related to chartered accountant? Yes, it is related to chartered accountant because agricultural income or whatever it is, no cash transactions cannot happen. All the returns have to be filed. Right? Let us go to the number 2, Aadhaar. What is Aadhaar? Have you ever thought about it, Aadhaar? As I told you, Dayanivas Sharma, Dayanivas, people used to file income tax return. They used to have a lot of fixed deposits in different banks, but never used to give PAN card, right? And they used to give one declaration so that what is it, 15G, 15H, correct? And claim the entire exemption of all fixed deposit interest. And bank also was not aware that how many fixed deposit this person has. We don't know. If there are multiple accounts, he would have opened multiple accounts and actually did fixed deposit with other bank. There was no necessity. But what happened in the entire KYC process? They told that you kindly give us the Aadhaar card and we would like to link it. Now that Aadhaar card was actually subjected to link with PAN card also. Now the people who are actually giving that 15G, 15H certificate or whatever it is called, that entire thing started getting impacted and getting collated in a particular manner. An identity of a person was getting recognized with a card called Aadhaar card. Is it relating to you? Yes, it is relating to you. As a chartered accountant, the compliance become very critical in this matter. Now let us go to the next one. I am not going to deviate anywhere. I am talking about large scale digitization of records. I am talking about digital India only. Please understand, this could not be done if people were to be deployed in every village. It is could be done because only one person used to sit in a branch and he used to update the entire data of applications online with a link to Aadhaar card. Aadhaar card also was linked to people's facility which was being given by the government. Let us go to the next one. So this is about the poor people or Richie. And now let us go to the income declaration scheme. What happened in income declaration scheme? Very interestingly, they told that 60% of the tax to be paid. People thought it is a big failure. We would not like to go for it. And they thought that it is a major failure of this government. But they didn't realize that, there was something new waiting for them. Immediately after the income declaration scheme stopped, the demonetization was being announced. In the demonetization, what happened? People started running to different bank accounts and depositing, but again the limitation was more than 2 lakh rupees you cannot deposit. Then this 2 lakh rupee was to be taken up, and people have started searching their office boys, where they went to their villages, they started linking up with multiple things. And ultimately, at the end of the day, what happened was people deposited that money in the Jan Dhan Yojana account and they got caught with regards to what information was not required because Jan Dhan was given to only those people who are below poverty line and they could not deposit 2 lakh rupees at one go. That was a real fact. So the demonetization impact has gone to a different activity altogether. And a lot of people got recognized. And I am telling you one important fact to all the people who are attending the seminar. Within 30 days, people have got notices from the income tax department. And go back and check with your clients. They will say that yes, within 30 days we got this notice. This notice was been received only because of digitization again. It was a mail sent. All the bank data which was collated, the data which was collated and the data which is getting recorded, they had that entire information in which bank account, how much money was being deposited, and the notices were being sent. Am I right? Pradeep, you might have also got some clients which are actually handling this particular issue.
Yes, sir.
So today we are seeing all the assessments which are happening at that point in time, which is a reality today. Now just see how this data actually got compiled. Have you ever thought about it? If digitization was not the answer, then the problem was different. But digitization is the answer to get transparent mechanism, right? So demonetization, let us move to cash transaction. What happened with cash transaction? Everyone used to think that payment of was to be limited, but no one thought that receipts are also to be considered. So more than 2 lakh rupee receipts you cannot do. I do not want to talk more about it. Please understand, the person who takes more than 2 lakh rupee cash, first is, can any person pay? Answer is big no. Even if he pays, the problem is he has to record. When you talk about the jewelry part, you talk about multiple other factors. Then the matter came was when the cash transaction and demonetization impacted, you might have seen a spurt of shell companies getting touched upon, right? What is shell companies? Have you ever thought demonetization actually sucked the cash into the system, correct? And all these shell companies which were only routing transaction, purchase, sale, sale, purchase, this all companies got into a different state of situation. And these entire companies were being taken at one time to strike off their name. And the directors who are associated with the shell companies were actually being, right, disqualified. From where this data came, how people could know is because all your ROC returns were linked with PAN card was linked with Aadhaar card. Earlier, once upon a time in ROC, what used to happen, no one knows. But just imagine, because of the striking of name of companies, shell companies, the fact went into a level where the who are the black sheeps could be easily caught. Correct? Now you see how this is actually getting connected. All these things are getting connected. I'm not going away from the entire discussion. I'm trying to get you what digital India is and what digital compliance is. Only because of this digitization, which is getting linked with various sources, how the compliance is actually changing the world of chartered accountants and the professionals across and the businesses across the country, which we need to really understand. It is not a situation where we can actually just live without any confusion. Please understand. It is very important that we understand critically what is the kind of fact which we need to understand, what is happening around us, which I am trying to tell you. If we are not able to relate this kind of changes which are coming, which is impacting the profession, God forbid a mistake which is being done by a chartered accountant in ignorance is also going to be a problem. Shell companies, why did they do shell companies के बाद new company directors recognition? How did it happen? You have gone to, right, Pradeep? You have a private limited company with you as a client, so they have to stand next to the board, do a recording, send that information. What is that they are going to do with that? Artificial intelligence is going to be the critical factor going forward. I'm going to talk about that also, how the face recognition of an individual from a video recording or from a photograph or from a LinkedIn and Facebook is going to get recognized by the government. Just 4,600 crores or 800 crores is being invested by this government on getting a data analytics lab ready. How much? 4,600 crores is being invested. And today you see the kind of data which is being available with the government, you and I can't even imagine. When on 12th August, Prime Minister came and spoke to the citizens of this country, he humbly requested that, look, I request this 130 crore population, where we are only having 1 crore 30 lakh people who are filing their income tax return, and might be 30 lakh people are only paying taxes. Where is the balance? How many cars are sold in this country? How many flats and apartments are there in this country? How much of jewelry is being sold in this country? You mean to say that only 1 crore 30 lakh people are only earning? Pradeep, tell me one thing. It is much more, right?
Yes.
I think this is where we need to understand where this country is, and it's a fantastic opportunity for chartered accountants. Please understand, it is a fantastic opportunity for chartered accountants to actually understand how laws and compliance of those laws are going to be a bread and butter for chartered accountants. We cannot move away from this. We actually have to adopt this entire thing and ensure that we train, we guide our clients. From last 75 years odd, we have been doing that from compliance of law. But digitization is one of the most critical factors in this entire process. So what happened in the shell company strike off? Have you ever thought about it? The moment this strike of companies, cash transaction and demonetization came into the grip, money laundering actually became a biggest problem for many people, right? Their bank accounts were seized. The companies from which they used to route the transaction, if you see, a private limited company used to have 1 lakh rupee capital and 1 lakh rupee asset side, correct? But if you go back and see their bank transaction, there used to be few crores of money going backward and forward, correct? And all these companies were being taken to a task by the government. And the money laundering actually came into control. And the name Benami transactions, who are owning a lot of properties and other things, actually started coming up, popping up, tapak, 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 one after another coming out. Who is the owner? Because that company got striked, but on that company strike, there is a property worth 400 crores, 200 crores, 50 crores. Apartment is there, villa is there, hotel is there, this is there, that is there. From where this have come? Capital is 1 lakh, cash is 1 lakh, but the value of property is huge. So now this money laundering and Benami also started triggering from that entire process. You understand? Then came the point of insolvency, because all these companies which were doing a sham, NPA accounts of banking industry, right? We all have done bank audits. NPA accounts, when these accounts became NPA because of striking of name of the shell companies, money laundering was getting picked up, demonetization happened, company went into problems, and they became NPA. The moment they became NPA, they got to know that the company do not even have that value of asset. 1,000 crores was being given to a particular company. The value of asset lying in the company is not even 300 crores. Now, the moment people got to know that there is a valuation impact on the companies, right? The NPA accounts started going down. The problem was banks started getting into problem, and that is how the banks started getting consolidated one after another. Now, how many banks are there? Go back and see how many bank audits will be there for us. Have you thought about it? Are we still a bank audit dependent chartered accountants, or we want to be a different chartered accountant? Is something which we need to really look into. And I'm also going to tell you one thing. I'm in my presentations, not too far a reality. We are sitting on a time bomb where your income tax returns are actually getting auto-populated, and we will not have work on our hand with regards to income tax returns also going forward. And GST, which is the next item which I'm going to discuss. Technically, if you ask me, I'm sorry, in my individual capacity, not as a chartered accountant, who is a council member, I'm talking to you as a friend, as a brother. Not again, I'm telling you, no, please don't take it anyone in mind that I am a chartered accountant. GST is actually a data entry job of a highly qualified chartered accountant. The kind of data which we are passing on to the department, any other person will do that. Are you able to retain any accountant in your office for filing GST returns? Pradeep, honestly tell me. Let us ask all our chartered accountants in Udupi, Mangalore, Mysore, whether they are able to retain that articles, whether they are able to retain that qualified people or semi-qualified people for filing GST returns, because it is a highly glorified data entry job. And the data entry, unfortunately, is a so valuable thing for the government. But unfortunately, our chartered accountants are underpriced it and kill the entire market. Filing GST return is not a great pride, I'm sorry. It is time that we need to really open our eyes and think about what is the next course of action we need to get into. If we are going to think that we are going to file income tax returns and GST returns, the days are gone, sir. I am telling you very honestly. Income tax return used to be on one piece of paper where people used to, I remember my father filing income tax return. But entire thing is become computerized. Forget about computerization. Now I'm going to share certain very interesting things which you will be shocked to know. The data auto population which is going to happen in your income tax returns, where you are going to scratch your head and think what is left for me now. Right? Am I talking sense or no?
Yes.
Right? So now the point is, where are we heading towards? Are we heading towards the right thing or a wrong thing? I'm talking about a GST return which we are underpricing 500 rupees, 1000 rupees, 1500 rupees. Do we want to do that job? And what are we undercutting for? Government, which is actually making huge amount of data in the entire process. What better job than want a highly qualified chartered accountant is sitting and putting the data into the system. I'm going to share certain very interesting things going forward. And we are, Pradeep, what we'll do is we'll have an interaction. If you can take some people on the video, we'll interact with people. Let us see that way, right? So now the GST I was talking about is what? Bank merger is what? Insolvency bankruptcy code is what? How data is getting relevant? Please understand it is 1,13,000 crores project. Now you understand what is 1,13,000 crore project is? If you understand, better. If you don't understand, choice is ours. Now, online labor laws. Have you ever thought that labor laws can be online? ESI, PF, PT, everything is become online. And for your surprise, dear friends, this entire data is getting linked up and hooked up with income tax side and GST side. People have reported huge amount of turnovers in their financials, right? Where are the labors for them? They don't have any labors. So what is Benami transaction and money laundering? Kindly understand how the data is getting linked. It is getting knitted, correct? Now, labor laws, if I don't have people in my office for PT, ESI, PF, you think that I can do a turnover of 1,000 crores? If I'm doing a turnover of 1,000 crores, I need to really go back, and that is actually going to pop up as an exception in the system that this guy doesn't have any employees or labor in his organization, but he's doing 1,000 crores turnover. This department used to never talk to each other. Now this entire departments are interconnected with each other. I'm going to say, have a discussion with regards to that. Same is the case with RERA. What has happened with RERA? All the forms of every project are required to be filled online. This is the next transformation which is going to come and hit us badly. That is a biggest opportunity for a chartered accountant when he signs a certificate for RERA. But unfortunately, people are again underpricing that also, and that opportunity also is getting killed. We have to understand the importance. If a businessman is making money, don't you think a professional also has to make right money? By charging 1,000 rupees for a RERA certificate, I am shocked that people are doing it. I am shocked that GST returns are being filed. Array, how many times the date have got extended, Pradeep, in GST? You fill the data at night in sitting in your office, right? Next day morning you come, the returns have changed. But did the client pay you second time? Did the client pay you second time or third time of return changing? He never did it. But our people are underpricing. 1,000 became 800, 800 became 500. So this is, if this is the kind of work which we are going to sacrifice our family time and do it, I think there is something which is very badly, to be considered. So let us understand where do we want to do and what do we want to do. Pradeep, I need just 2 minutes break. 2 minutes. I am
Sure.
back. In the meantime, just interact with Lokesh. I am coming in just 2 minutes.
Sure, sir.
Sorry, I'm back. So Pradeep, can I start?
Sir.
So where I was basically with regards to the GST.
Yeah.
And the fact of GST is, I'm going to share in my next coming presentation, which will actually make you understand how data is getting collated and the labor laws are getting impacted. Now, what is happening? Do you agree that this entire thing is getting digitally possible? The fact is yes. If you see that fact, I think you will go forward when we make the presentation. This is how the looping of laws has happened. When in the earlier regime, we had central excise exemption limit of 1 crore 50 lakh, correct? VAT was 7.5 lakhs. Service tax was 10 lakhs. And then income tax was 50 lakhs to 1 crore or 2 crore, depending upon the criteria. But under GST, they subsumed all, not income tax, but all other three acts. They have subsumed and got it to one, which is called GST. What is the exemption limit of GST for registration? 20 lakh rupees. How do you calculate 20 lakh rupees? Including exempted income. Right? Now let me come and tell you what is the interesting part. How is this digitization and all these things working in favor of our digital India? When I used to be an individual, I opened a business. I opened as a proprietary concern. I got married. I had a partnership firm with my wife. I got a child. I made a HUF and made one more partnership firm or a proprietary concern. And then again, when my child was grown up, again I got him as a son, as a partner, and started multiplying businesses in different forms. Right? Now, and lot of income. One business I used to do it in central excise related matters. Another was VAT related. Another was service tax related. Income tax never used to come to me because 50 lakh rupees was the exemption and 1 crore was the criteria which was given. Now, in GST, intelligently that 1 crore 50, 7.5 and 10 lakh combined in together has become 20 lakh rupees, and this 20 lakh rupees is including the exempted income what you need to take it. So automatically you need to get yourself registered as a for GST registration when you are providing any services. Now what all is happening is now GST number is actually linked with your PAN card. PAN card is linked with your Aadhaar card. Aadhaar card is linked with your bank card, bank statement. Bank is linked with something else. X, Y, Z. If you see, it is becoming a protection wall. Now people are thinking that they are really intelligent. The businessmen are thinking that they are really intelligent. But the fact is, it is basically knit in a manner where a person cannot come out of it. I'll just give you one example. Very interesting. Pradeep, note down and might be you can share with all the people at large. I was sitting with the revenue secretary. And this revenue secretary says that, sir, you tell me, Sharma Sahab, how is chartered accountants helping us out in GST? I said, how you want us to do? We are filing all your returns and all those things. Then the point came was, Dayaji, do you know that the certificates which are being given by a couple of people do not tally with the numbers which are actually there? I said, what do you mean by that? He said, we have actually reached out to some people. Pradeep, your thing is, I think, getting disturbed. If you can mute. Yeah. So what happened in the process was he told me one simple logic that, sir, tell me one thing. I'll show you some statistics and tell me how chartered accountants can help us out in getting this thing right. He was very kind enough to tell that. Can you imagine that, when they wrote a letter to banking sector saying that kindly give us all the list of traders which are having shops and who are using credit card machines. Initially, they said we cannot give you. They issued a show cause notice. All the detail was been provided. You will be surprised to know that revenue secretary pulled out a statement and showed me this is the statement, Dayaji. please see the turnover reported in GST is 3 lakh rupees for a particular dealer. You know how much turnover this guy is doing? He said, no, I don't know, might be 3 lakh or might be a little bit more than that. He said the turnover of that particular dealer in that particular shop is more than 45 lakh rupees. I was shocked. I asked, how do you say that? Then he said, Dayaji, the point of sale machines which are being placed in that shop, which is on his name, his business name, two different banks. Sometimes he uses network of landline and sometimes he uses Wi-Fi for swiping the cards. We combined all this data from that point, that sourcing point, and we could collect how many machines are being connected to that particular shop. And when we collated the data and we got it, that turnover instead of 3 lakh was only for one machine and the balance was 45 lakh rupees. So that is the kind of data analytics the government is doing to reach out. And unfortunately, what is happening is most of the time the chartered accountants are only the people who are signing the GST returns. We need to really understand how and which way we want to go forward. This is something which we really have to appreciate, or I don't know what, but we need to gear up to ensure that this kind of statistical data is being done by us. We cannot actually miss out. Please understand. Now let me take you to dream and action. What is a dream? There was a dream that India should be a transparent nation, and the action is actually on. What is that action? We need to really understand. Let us come to that understanding, and now you will appreciate everyone were talking about one fact, faceless assessment. Correct? Everyone laughed at this government that faceless assessment cannot happen. Now, in 2018, the government mooted an idea, notified by CVDT in 2019, 7,116 cases. Pradeep, if you remember on your inaugural, your foundation day, I came and talked about the statistics. I'm repeating that statistics for a purpose of sharing with all of our other members who have come from Mysore, who have joined us today. 7,116 cases in the first phase have been completed in faceless, and the reality is the answer of that is the returns of income tax have changed because they want to go for faceless. They realize that what are the problems which are there in doing the faceless, and the fact went very simple in what is required going forward. E-assessments is an online system which will use artificial intelligence and machine learning and technology tools to randomly and automatically allocate cases for assessment with income tax department. Who is going to do the assessment? We don't even know. Government has moved ahead, way ahead. We have to gear up to reach out to that particular position. Friends, one thing which I would like to tell you is this is not something which has been only dreamt. It has actually come into action. 7,116 cases in the first phase have given out the outcome. Let me just share with you with one more document. Just give me a moment. 1 second. I'm just opening one document for all you people to show you how this thing is actually impacting all of us and how this e-assessment is going to be possible. Let us see this. Basis of residential status and detail of period of stay in India in case of non-resident, correct? This is a new provision which has been added. Earlier, whatever a person used to give information, that was the only information which was there with the, right? That was only information which was there with the government. But now, Ministry of External Affairs has signed up an excellent MOU with the Income Tax Department that any person who is going to move out of this country is going to The data is going to be provided to that. One more interesting thing which is there is, in the new income tax return, any person who's going to travel abroad, let me just take you there. If you see this section, additional detail in case where the return is being filed under 7th proviso of income tax 139(1)(2021). Just see the last one. Have you incurred expenditure of amount or aggregate amount exceeding 1 lakh on consumption? No, before that, have you incurred expenditure on amount aggregate of 2 lakh rupees for travel to foreign country? If you don't declare here, correct, how many people have traveled abroad? Have you thought about it? How many foreign holidays have been there of people? Have you thought about it? People have traveled abroad with no return file. And today, the situation is income tax department is actually pulling out that entire data from external affair ministry. Who all have traveled, which passports have been used, and the data is actually getting linked in the form of this thing. Just imagine that this data which is getting picked up, can you just think about how the data is getting picked up? You know, Pradeep, artificial intelligence and machine learning I talked about. What is artificial intelligence? I'll tell you. 4,600 crores which is invested in data analytic lab is doing what, you know, Pradeep, your face recognition with your Facebook account, LinkedIn account, right? Social media accounts, right? Then your external affair ministry, your PAN card, everything is coming into one system for doing an analysis that Pradeep Jogi has traveled to Dubai with his family for a holiday and went to the Disneyland or might be X, Y, or Z place. Now this data is getting auto-populated. And it is telling this may be the person who have traveled, and the accuracy level has come to a level where you and I can't even imagine. And that is getting linked with your bank account, your credit card, your debit card, your bank account in which you have purchased a foreign travel card, and most importantly on the external affair ministry card. Now, when people at the national level, because what is the role of chartered accountant? The role of chartered accountant is only to the extent of filing of income tax return, correct? But if you are going to miss out anything in your declaration before signing out, or if a chartered accountant doesn't take a declaration from the client saying that he is not traveled, just imagine what are the other conditions. Let me just take you through the other conditions, better, correct? Now let us take this new requirement of income tax. Faceless assessment, people were saying it is not going to be realistic, it will not take off, it will not do this, I will not do that. Payment of hotel bills of more than 20,000 rupees, property tax more than 20,000 rupees. Any person who is paid for electricity bill for more than 1 lakh rupees. Means if you are paying electricity bill of more than 1 lakh rupees, and what is the income tax you return you will be filing? Can you imagine? How much is the bill of our electricity? 4,000, 3,000, 10,000 maximum. Matlab 1,20,000 if you are able to pay electricity bill per month, then your earnings have to be above the exemption limit. That is the calculation, and that is going to be done not by human now. They don't want to trust human. Now they are going to trust the machines. And that machine is going to calculate this entire information and throw it on your system. Any person who is paid rent more than 40,000 rupees, right? Any purchase of jewelry, white goods, painting, marbles, marble, flooring marble I'm talking about, of more than 1 lakh rupees. Just imagine the kind of data they have reached out to. Who will put marble in their house? Answers are very simple. Digitization is going to make it possible. Please take it from me, my dear friends. Domestic business class air travel or foreign travel. Just see what kind of data they are collecting, and the faceless scrutiny. If we are still thinking that it is not possible, then thank you very much. I can't say anything more than this. If this is the kind of data, forget about this. Let me just share with you one of my clients' data, right? The client's example, just see this. This is, I'm sorry, this is ITR1, Pradeep. This data is auto-populated. I think you are also finding it the similar way. 26 AS say pick up, it is picking up data of an individual and preparing the returns. Can you just imagine this data which is getting collected? What is the investment? Now there is a special pad signed with the insurance regulatory authority. When a person claims that I have deposited this much amount for insurance, correct? Earlier people used to just write some number and claim exemption and be happy. But now CBDT and insurance IRD, I'm going to show you that slide. I've signed a special PAT. This PAT is going to pick up because whatever insurance premium you are going to pay, compulsorily your Aadhaar card and PAN card is required. Now this data is getting auto-populated. I think if we are understanding this, see how the data is going, health premium is basically going to be picked up automatically. You have to just go and select which one you want to give, and data will be transferred by IRDA to this. Let us go further, right? So if you see this entire thing, I think now you will understand the seriousness of faceless assessment and how the faceless assessment is happening. Please understand, it is all digital. And we are center point, everything is revolving around us, right? Let me take you through my presentation again, which will give you, now you agree that faceless assessment is possible? Pradeep, on behalf of entire Udupi and Mangalore, you will agree that faceless assessment is possible. It's
Yes, sir,
here.
it's possible.
It is here to stay. Now, let me take you through this MOU for data sharing initiatives. Transparency and accountability are paramount when it comes to a transaction, monetary or otherwise. Whether it is monetary or otherwise, whether it is going to be exempted income or non-exempted income, transparency and accountability is the most crucial thing which we need to understand. Coordination between and linking of various departments for data sharing has become a reality now. So many senior chartered accountants are there. We have got some ELS assessment, some message from some chartered accountant I have not seen. But now just imagine, I'm talking about, let us go back. A lot of seniors are there in this discussion. Just tell me one thing. Okay, let me come to the slide. This is the main data slide. A CBDT and SEBI data. Historic agreement is signed between the two regulators. Data exchange hearing group has been formed for the first time in this nation. First time in the nation. And data exchange is for what? On request or on suo motu. Just forget about request or suo motu. Just pressing of button, they get the entire information. Any information required to carry out scrutiny, inspection, investigation, and prosecution. These four are the agenda behind sharing of data. Now, friends, people have traded in multiple securities in stock exchanges under broker and sub-brokers, and no one has reported income tax may return, whether it is a capital gain or loss. Correct? Go back and check it out. So many of the clients, so many other people who trade into that, few lakhs and crores has been purchased and sold, and profits are being taken home. But now the point is, anything which any person is going to trade on the stock exchanges, correct? The data will be auto-populated in your 26 AS. Now, what is going to happen when you are going to do it? The logic is very simple. If I have purchased and sold, if it is long-term capital gain or short-term capital gain, second is trading activity, third is speculation activity. You or I need not use our brain. The system is going to tell within such a short time, selling and buying has happened. It is a speculation income or a speculation loss. System is going to tell whether it is a trading activity, and system is going to calculate your long-term or short-term capital gains. And this entire data is going to be on your 26 years. Is it related to chartered accountants again? Is it going to cut an opportunity? Is system going to take over chartered accountants is something which we need to really understand. And what is the role of chartered accountants going to be? We need to really understand. And I'm talking about one such agreement. I'm going to go to another agreements which are going to be there. And just imagine what kind of information passing, sharing of data is happening between the departments. Can you imagine? Is it not digital India and digital compliances? Are you able to see the reality? 1,13,000 crores. Again, I'm insisting 4,600 crores on investment on data analytic labs. It is not simple, my dear friend. If you have not understood, there is something gone wrong badly with us. Now the point goes very simple. Let me take you through something more. Let me take you to the first and the foremost thing is IT and GST department. Right? IT and GST department, which is the most happening thing for every chartered accountant in practice. Right? That is our bread and butter. Now let us understand our bread and butter. People are not understanding the fact which I talked about, that we have a learned chartered accountant who is feeding data for the government in the GST department. Income tax happens later. GST department, GST happens every day, every moment when you buy or sell a transaction. Right? Every purchase and sale is going to be recorded, and this is going to be a reality. Now, when my purchase and sale is going to be put into GSTRs, which is 3B, 1, 4, 9, 9A, whatever it is, different kind of returns, data is getting fed into the system, right? Every day, every month, every quarter. Now, my point is, when does the income tax department come in? Income tax audit happen, tax audit happen is after a year, almost September, October. Now tell me one thing, before you and I actually assess the income or expenditure of an SSE, does the government has the information now? Yes, the government already has the information. Now, the moment you are going to file your ITR 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever the turnover income which is going to be reported, in that you need not go and fill in your data, your time is going to be saved, don't worry. The data is going to be auto-populated from the GST returns, and the income tax returns are going to be actually popped up, the way we have seen the previous slide. Now, what is there in that? Exempted income? No problem. GST में exempted income का कोई जगह नहीं है. Income tax income अंदर है, GST में नहीं है. Now just imagine, where is that data which is going to be recorded? Have you thought about it? You are, once upon a time, my VAT returns never used to tally with the income tax return. My service tax return never used to tally with my income tax return. My excise returns never used to tally with my income tax return. Now these all are going to be put together. And don't be surprised that tomorrow you will have only GST audit or tax audit. Already the Prime Minister in a different form has communicated. Is it that going to, are we waiting for those days to come, or we want to prepare ourselves and be ready for something new? Is something which we need to really evaluate. It's high time that we need to really evaluate. Let me take one more example. Atmanirbhar Bharat, everyone talked about, right? And MSME. Do you know, have you applied for MSME returns or registrations, Pradeep? Or anyone in the group who is listening to this lecture? If you have not, kindly go back and check and register your own firm for MSME. The moment you put your PAN card number, the turnover and asset criteria which is critical for registration of MSME pops up from your income tax returns. From your income tax returns, income and asset criteria which is there will pop up and it will say whether you are a micro, medium, or small in the case of MSME. This is the last one. CBDT and Ministry of MSME has come into a special agreement, and this is again a reality. Once upon a time, you used to reply, what is the benefit? Why do you want to take benefit here? Forget about benefit. I am talking something else. You are going to the benefit of a chartered accountant. I am telling you only for the sake of experimenting, not for any other purpose. Kindly go and check. There are other benefits which are there for MSME that I will take sometimes separately. If you read the MSME law well and what are the new benefits which are coming in. But the point is, chartered accountants have to understand that technology is actually taking over. We used to apply manually, and that guy never knew what is the income tax return which has been filed. For the purpose of benefit of taking an MSME and filing a case, people used to just go file some document and take it. But now that is also not going to happen. Let us talk about CBDT and CBIC, sharing data and information between both the departments on an automatical and regular basis. Earlier, these departments never used to talk to each other. Now they did not talk still. Only by pressing of button they get the entire information. MCA and SEBI. The MOU facilitates an automatic on-demand sharing of data between SEBI and MCA and helps in early detection of corporate frauds. What is happening is this shell company transaction which I was talking about, in that case, and so SEBI is a regulator for secondary market. MCA is a regulator for all the registration of companies. They never used to talk to each other. By the time that they used to share the data, the thing was over altogether. But now, on a real-time basis, the data can be accumulated because of my subsidiary information which I want, or any transaction which has happened with any kind of company, whether that company is a shell company, whether it is a company strike-off company, what is it, is going to be actually a reality going forward. Financial regulators have come together to actually share the data and make it big. And this is again a reality, friends. Please, I'm telling you, when I'm talking about an insurance claim or filing of income tax returns, individual returns, the people used to just file certain thing and take benefit of. Now IRDA is going to link that entire information with the CBDT. The moment you put your PAN card, all those insurance benefits, all the insurance policies you have taken automatically auto-populated, and you'll get that benefit of 1,50,000 and balance will be left aside. Now this is where this country is going. Digital India and digital compliance, when you talk about a word compliance, primarily it is again going to come and relate to financial transactions. When you talk about financial transaction, I'm just going to close, sir, in some time. Don't worry. After that, we are almost on the last slide. Don't worry. So my point to you all is that when we are going to take things in a manner, when we are talking about digital India and digital compliance, wherever there is a compliance, there is a financial transaction. Wherever there is a financial transaction, it's going to be a chartered accountant there. So it is very important for all of us to understand what these kind of arrangements which have been happening. I think in the capacity of a chartered accountant, we are not only doing work for an SSC. Our primary responsibility is for the nation. And if we are not going to take care of our nation, nation is not going to take care of us. In the power of income tax, GST, we are quasi-judicial power. We have the dual role. We are playing that role on behalf of the government of India to get the right assessments done. Go back to the 1982 when income tax, 1984 when income tax audit was being introduced. They only said chartered accountants are the only people who can sign on behalf of income tax department to assess the tax of an SSE. We are not doing assessment on behalf of SSE. We are doing assessment of tax on behalf of this nation called country. Friends, I can tell you only one thing. The time has come where the responsibilities need to be understood well. The times are over. 7 decades we have used where the technology was not ahead of us. The point is very simple. The technology is going to take over certain things, but we have to be ahead of technology. Then only the relevance of a chartered accountants will be there. We were relevant yesterday, we are relevant today, we will be relevant tomorrow only if we understand this kind. I have taken very few, 4 or 5 cases I have taken for the purpose of discussion today. Please understand. And if I start putting all that kind of arrangements which have been done by the government, you will be surprised to know that, we are not going anywhere. And when opportunity is there, the government is giving us opportunity on a continuous basis. When you're talking about transparent and resilient India, it is that we need to actually play a very important role. And all this thing is going to happen with only one thing in mind. Friends, we have adopted for a lot of changes in last 70 years. We have learned the law. We have taught the businessmen how to do business. But it is time where we need to learn technology only to protect our entire thing. A time has come where a senior and a junior has to come together. Law is an experience of a chartered accountant who is senior. Technology is a speed of a youngster. Just imagine if these two things combine together, where are we going to head? Have you thought about it? Are you think that senior are senior, junior are junior? Both are independently of no great value. There might be few exceptions, there is no doubt about it. But it is time where we need to come together and ensure that we are together in a particular state of mind where that knowledge or experience and the speed match together. Friends, in this digital era, I can only tell you one thing. This is something which you need to remember. There is a digital footprint you are living everywhere. Whether it is you as an individual, I'm not talking about a chartered accountant, right? We are not talking as a chartered accountant. I'm talking you as an individual. People are using Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, this, that, Hamka, Dimka, Timka. Wherever we are today moving, I am talking about when you are filing your income tax return, GST return, insurance claim, employee returns, PF, ESI, professional tax, or you are traveling abroad and posting certain photographs on your Facebook, right? On your LinkedIn, and apart from that, you are going to certain marriages, wearing a lot of jewelry, taking photographs and putting on the Facebook. Please understand, data is the oil. And imagine when Reliance could get Facebook and the other company together on a single platform, they also understand India has a lot of data with it. Please understand, data is going to be the crucial part of the entire aspect of the entire profession. When I'm talking about digital India and digital compliance, that means it is a cyber risk which is there. If there is a cyber risk, please understand, chartered accountants are capable and they have qualified DISA examinations. They have qualified forensic examinations. Only thing is we have qualified. Now it is time to apply those things. Please understand, the future of accounting and tax, our audit profession is not going to be tax audit and GST audits. It is going to be cyber security audits, technology audits. It's going to be something more than what is required. Statutory compliances are going to be one part, risk and compliance are going to be another part. Please understand, when I'm talking about a pricing of data which is $0.09 per GB versus $12.55 per GB in Canada, I'm talking about so many other things. Can you imagine, Pradeep, is the fact that there is a Krishi Yojana, then we have Swasthya Yojana, then we have Shiksha Yojana and e-commerce facilities which is being launched by this government are all on digital platform. And agricultural income, which we think, now this government is thinking about empowering farmers by using technology. They are able to understand what is the kind of output they are getting. They are able to understand. Their children are coming to cities to learn. They don't want their children. They want their children to be a farmer, but not the farmer of their type. They are pledging their lands and sending their children to cities to learn, get educated. And these people, when they are going to go back, just imagine the kind of knowledge and data bank which they are going to have. Tractors are being used with only remote sensing. Solar power is just generated with no money almost, where these farmers were not having agricultural, when agriculturists were not having. I'm telling you one simple example. Education. Have you ever thought the kind of education policy this government has got? It will come into a reality. It is not. It is now coming into. I think let us take one understanding very clear. It is the youngest country of the world where more than 60-70% of the population is less than 35 years. That means so much more is there to do. If we don't understand this digitization and we don't understand what is the way this is going to impact the human life cycle, earning cycle, financial cycle, then I think the definition of chartered accountants is actually changing day by day, day by day, day by day. People who are going to guide their customers and clients rightly only will, and now it is going to be a business advisor than a person who is only signing the tax returns, because tax returns are going to be taken over by the computers and technology. Friends, I would like to just share these thoughts primarily from only one thing. That at the end of the day, nothing is going to change. Debit is a debit, credit is a credit. Income is an income, expenditure is an expenditure. The basic of definition will not change, but the way that is going to be implemented in the system will make changes. And the people who are able to adopt for those changes will only be in position to take it forward. Earlier, we had papers to be written with hand and filed like TDS returns, whether it is income tax, GST returns, VAT return, or whatever returns it is. We used to file it with hand. But now the fact is, in the oldest office, if the biggest client is there, their data also is to be filed digitally only. We have adopted all throughout 70 years, and we can adopt to this technological change also. Please take it from me. It is time where these different laws are coming together and it is becoming a bunch of entire compliance. And this is getting a transparency in the system. One place, if anything is lost, second place it will be caught. Second place it is lost, third place it will be caught. Because entirely it has become a circle. Sharing of circle. Right? With this, I would like to just thank you very much. I completed my presentation well within time. If any of you have questions to be asked or anything which I can share in a capacity of a central council member or as an individual chartered accountant, both ways, I'm open to share with you all people. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity and being with you all. Pradeep?
Thank you, sir, for sharing with us your insights on digital India, digital compliance, the way forward CA professions. We had a wonderful session. Dear members, if you have any questions or if you want to interact with Dayaniva Sharma, you can just raise your hands.
I think no one has I have thoroughly confused everyone.
Gujari sir is there, I think.
That's what I was saying. No, I have thoroughly confused everyone. No worries. So now they are going to just either curse me or might be giving me blessings.
Okay.
Someone has raised his hand.
Darshan, just okay. Darshan, you can speak now.
Sir, it's really an eye opener for virtually all the CAs, old and young. But you know, what hello,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think Kavita can just mute.
Yeah, my question is,
Yeah, my question is,
until
until
profession is
the
strengthened
profession
from
is
within,
strengthened from
you always find
you always
CAs who are
find
always
seats who are
undercutting,
always
charging,
undercutting,
you know,
charging,
the prices.
prices.
Just a minute, Darshan, just a minute. Yeah. Now you can speak.
Am I
Hello?
audible?
Yeah.
Sir, the way you have presented the things you have put across, it was amazing. It had something for everyone, the old and the young. One thing I think is, unless our profession is strengthened from within, so that CAs don't undercut each other, they don't charge throwaway prices. Unless that is done, it is very difficult for the profession as a whole to come above. There will always be a case where certain individual will definitely go ahead, and a lot of the people will stay behind in this curve. That's what I feel, sir.
Darshan, that is what I wanted to tell everyone is, please arrive at your value, which is very important. We are underpricing ourselves and actually getting into a different kind of situation where people have to understand so much of work we are doing. You are sacrificing your personal life, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, when the returns dates are there. People don't understand that. One fine day the government will change the return and you need to redo the entire thing. It is time that we have to come together and decide on what we want and how we want. Let us make like Udupi branch, Mysore branch. We can actually think about coming together and say that this is the minimum price which I'm going to charge, not below this. That is the kind of resolution which we all need to take and make it happen. And there is a lot of learning which we need to do. I think I'm not talking about the law as such, but the implementation mechanisms have changed. From a village road, now we have come on a highway, and it is high time that on a highway you cannot, even the best road cannot make the bullocks run faster than a car.
Sir, how can the institute be stronger in this? The recommended scale of fees, it is available from last several number of years. I can tell you for sure there is no CA in Mysore who can tell that he has 100%ly followed that recommended scale of fees. How can the institute have a stronger hand in that?
There are two ways of doing it, Darshan. One is basically now we have one particular committee which is called Tender Monitoring Group. And now in the peer review, also we have actually strengthened this process. Then furthermore, going forward, see, more than anything, forget about the compliance part. How much can you cannot get into the heart and mind of people to make them understand that you are underpricing them. It is a self-discipline which a person has to get. A self-regulation person has to be ready with and say that, yes, I would like to do it like this. How many people you are just going to continue to keep their mouth shut? It's very difficult. All of us have to come together and make it happen. That's the only answer. कितना भी रेगुलेशन लगाओ यार, क्या होने वाला है? कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. Self discipline and self motivation is the only answer.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Someone, anyone is there? Sir, with digital transformation in every sphere, how strong are we under Information Technology Act? That was the message which I was trying to give you indirectly. And I think anything and everything which is going to be recorded and reported is going to be on an Information Technology Act. Kumar sir and Pradeep, I would request you to kindly call one speaker on the importance of technology, data, and data integrity and data usability. There is one person, if you want, I can get it, or might be you can also get it, one person. So cyber laws can be actually understood by our chartered accountants. we are giving lot of passwords and data to our article students, right? So much, and any act which has been done by them is not an act done by them. It is an act done by a chartered accountant. Remember that. You cannot even try to give a UDIN number, password and all to your article staff. An act which is done on your name is also your responsibility only, even if it is done by your article or your partner. Anyone more? If anyone has a doubt or a question or anything in mind, I request without hesitation, let us make it, because see, discussion in this closed door forum only is going to take us to a next level. If we are afraid or we are thinking that whether I should ask a question or not, when I am able to come and talk to you what is happening at the national level, it is now our duty to come together and make understand that whatever is happening. There is a Hemant Pitalia ji. Okay. Good evening, sir. Anything more is there?
No.
So Pradeep, all is in your hands.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Now I request Kumar MG, sir, with the vote of thanks. Kumar, sir, are you there?
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yes, sir, you
Am
are
I
audible.
audible?
Yes, sir.
Sir, Daya, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It was expected long back, almost last 1.5 year back. You are supposed to come to Mysore. Somehow it happened, and you couldn't speak to me, address our members. Somehow it happened today, and you accepted our invitation without any second thought. Thank you very much for your presentation, sir. I thank you all our members who are attending. Even on the Saturday evening, it is almost close to holiday. Still, the 50 people members are watching still now. Thank you very much. And now I request, I even thank our Udupi branch chairman, secretary, and our Mysore branch chairman, Vasudev Rao. I thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.